It's March 29th, 2022. Um, there was a TV commercial today for, I think it was on Drew Barrymore, for a, Jamie Lee Curtis. She's Hollywood. Um, she's doing something called, I think it's IRS, just the three letters. And she's sitting there with a large bosom and like this pot belly. And they made mention of it. It reminded me actually of my mother. My mother was this tall, slender, like, beauty, but in a very, I don't know, discreet fashion. And now she's all torn in this bodice that it looks like the physics program is completely off. It's not right. No human should have to endure the shape that my mother has, and myself at this point, has been pulled into. So anyway, I don't know much about the movie, I just know that. But it's interesting because it's Jamie, which is Jamie for the friend, and then Lee. At the same time, in real world, elsewhere, not real sport, but real world, Stephen Charles, one of my Condor wing of secure genetics that feel very unsecure at the moment, is somewhere in Uncle Sam territory, not in a IAL format at all. He's more of the Jamie Lee Curtis look of the IRS associate in the office that is all bloated and damaged biological gear in the field. He had some incident. He ran. I don't know the whole story. I only know secondhand facts, which is more in depth. Was that he made a call to somebody, then he made a call to his landlord. He got into the driveway and then he collapsed. Lynn says he was whatever. I'm not even going to there. But his hip broke and they had to surgically put him back together. Then they were trying to take the trach out, but he was having trouble breathing. He's been like this now for almost 3 weeks. His heart, the timing of his heart, they can't get straight. The breathing of his lungs, he had COPD before. He had been shot earlier in life with a gun, and he had a lung collapse. Somebody robbed him for his paycheck after work, I think in Jamaica. So he's now, they have him in a coma and then they bring him out of the coma. But they've been having trouble with this, with the timing, the synchronicity of his breathing and his heart. He's in really bad shape. Then he had a fever. He was running a fever. His basal body temperature went up, indicative of some form of infection, but they were able to control that. But more, the body mechanics are all off. I mean, I know that mine at 40 are all off. They've been off for a while, and it's a really hard mechanic to control in this physique or physics, with the acclimate, the pressure system. I have biological proof that's related to me in a genetic. He's one of the only genetics that look at kindred, to Linda and some of the other Condor wings or Condor feathers, or feathers in a cap, or at a tribal chief level of something. But it's frightening just how they were also, they looked so in, not necessarily like, not a, I don't even know, not like an MMA fighter or a martial arts fighter or even a ballet like dancer fit, but they at least were able to keep their mezzanine of intestines and their entrails inward. They didn't protrude out with diastasis, or like the rectus abdominis diastasis in this rad format. But now it feels a lot of the people I see are suffering from this. It's an incorrect body posture, but it's incorrect barometrics and tidal volume. Again, they say it has something to do with the oceans. I'm just like, the pearls of wisdom that they come out with, it's some form of human intellect. I try to take it with a grain of salt. But I don't need to hear it over and over and over again unless I'm assessing depth perception. But the interesting thing is that Steven still, or Stevie, is still, and he's the baby of the 10, regulation between his heart, beating rhythm, and his lungs, has been a real challenge for the hospital, the professional hospital staff, of good Samaritans, let's say. It just so happens to be, I think it's the same place, Miss Ellen's son had some arrhythmia himself when she was staying with me, and I had to drive her in the middle of the night because she said her son collapsed, which was odd. So I drove her straight there. I asked if she needed the night off or she only wanted to stay briefly. She wanted to see him and speak to him, so I went with her. So it's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza, it's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.